welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Travis. We are continuing work on the 62 Cadillac Sedan DeVille. This is part 3 in the installment of working on this thing, trying to get it roadworthy. In the first video, we got it pulled out of a desert in New Mexico, and we got the car running.
She been a butt.
And in the second video, we worked through a bunch of issues to actually get the car driving. The drive shaft was unhooked and the yoke was broke and the U-joint was messed up, so we fixed that. And when we actually got to drive it for the first time, it had overheating problems, so I took the cooling system apart, rebuilt the water pump, rebuilt the power steering pump, put a new radiator in it, tried to save the old one, but the cores were just open, like just pouring water out. Could not save the old radiator. Now after that stuff was fixed, and then we actually drove it, only to find out that it's not getting gears. Something is wrong with the transmission. Something very bad is amongst us. So in this video, we're going to try and figure out what's going on with the transmission and see if we can eradicate it. When we went on our test drive last time, the car just quit midstream once it got warm, and it wouldn't start up. But I came out here the next day and I did end up starting it. I think it was vapor locking. So let's see if it'll start. Again, it's cold, it's been overnight. So let's just see if it'll start. See, look at that. Maybe not. So what I think might have been going on is, you see that rubber fuel line is wrapped like right against the water pump, and when it got hot, that heat from the water pump was right on that line. You might have a vacuum leak. This hose is tore. This PCV hose is tore. I don't know, that could be a source of a leak. But yeah, it runs okay. It runs good when it runs. I mean, no vibrations. I mean, it's a Cadillac. Big Cadillac, man, that's for sure. So I pulled this PVC hose off, and this was underneath the intake. I thought it was hooked up, but it was just open. Look. It's just an open vacuum leak. Just so we know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, I want to put it in neutral. I want to check the fluid again, see if we're full, test drive it one more time, make sure that I'm right, and then we'll take the pan off. We're in neutral, it's a little warm. It's full. Check it one more time. I don't want to be taking this apart over a dumb mistake is not putting enough fluid in it. Full. Alright. Let's try this one more time. And I'll tell you what, the power steering on these cars are just better than my wife's 2011 Jeep. In one finger. When they say you used to be able to do it with one finger, there it is. I mean, it is just really good. Second. See, we're just revving it. Yeah, we're just revving the dang thing. It's definitely not getting them. Oh, here's Dad.
What's going on?
Well, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not wrong. I'm trying to really make sure it's not getting those gears.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. You know, really want to rebuild that transmission.
No, I don't. I don't. But it's not get you. I mean, you want to feel it?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Man, it runs real good for a car that don't have a transmission. I hate that. I hate that, man. It runs so good.
Now you know why they quit driving it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why. We're in first.
We're second.
Yeah, where is it? So I felt it. Didn't you feel it?
I felt something. Oh, it skipped it. It's the same thing that other one was doing.
Yeah.
What? What's that wobble?
I don't know. Hear it just revving.
Dump that thing full of transactions.
Nah, I'm gonna take the pan off.
Huh. Weird. Looks like a drag link. Had a drag link go bad one time. Wobble you out of the car.
I think it's time to just accept our fate. Put this thing under the knife again. Yeah, I've had a couple of comments on the last video, you know, working underneath the car and everything, saying how, man, I hope BenPack sees this and sponsors you, or you need a car lift, like, it'd be great if you had a lift. It's like, hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. I agree. I wish I did have a lift, but, you know, it's one step at a time. You know what I mean? I mean, I think maybe a year ago, I built this, what I call a shop, but I guess it'd be a carport, to work on cars for you guys, for YouTube, and it was all I could do at the time to build this 45 by 25, and you know, I built this all myself. So we'll have to probably be under here for a few years until I get up the fundulation to build a building to accept a lift, because I actually do have a lift. I bought one off of Facebook, a used one, and it's out in the yard. I bought it kind of like a preemptive strike for when I do get a building, you know, I'll have a lift. It's an old school lift. It's way out here. It's a little overgrown, but this is a 2-post lift, and what I liked about it is it's old, American made. It's got chains instead of cables. Most of them have cables. This thing could probably, this is a 9,000 pound lift, and it could probably do more than that just because of how well it's built. Got the arms right there, 2 posts, have the bar that goes in between on the bottom like what you drive over right there. It's got the hydraulic tank canister, it's got the electric motor, it's got all the pieces. I would just have to erect it and everything, but you know, obviously look at the size of that carport. It's like 8 or 9 foot tall. I mean, this just won't fit under there. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. You know, you gotta build a building, and it's gotta have 14 to 16 foot high roof, ceiling, and all that good business. So that's a whole other project for later, you know what I mean? You guys gotta watch these videos, tell your friends, like and subscribe, because the more views we get, the faster I can put up a shop and get a lift. Quit working in the dirt, man. So I do have the space for it. I'm picturing the shop going right about there with doors facing this way, because if the doors are facing this way, the sun is always shining this way. So if you had the doors open, you'd always have the sun coming in on you. But if you had the doors facing that way, you could open them because the sun shines that way, and you would always have shade in the building. That's what I would like to do. But that's a massive project, probably a $30,000 to $35,000 endeavor. I mean, pouring a 1,500 square foot concrete slab probably be $15,000 by itself. Then you got to erect the building, get steel, purlins, all that good business. And looky here what I just found. Another leak. I think I know what that is. I can almost guarantee you it's that power steering box. Yeah, look at that thing. Just peeing away. Can't have anything nice. Rebuilt the power steering pump, box leaks. Oh, there's a drain plug on this thing. Beautiful. I was looking under here and I didn't see one. Yeah, I was looking like right here or right here. It's like over here. Man, look at this. Look how mangled this is. See that? Look at how... This should be like straight. Somebody hit something going extremely fast. And then look at the pan. Look at how it's... Look how many dents are in it. Boom, 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 boom. Wow. There's bolts up in there, you know, to get the pan off. I mean, you can't even put a socket or anything through there. Oh my gosh, dude. I've never seen a crossbar like that. 7/8. I got it the first try. Can you believe it? You always have to crack out the entire toolbox. We didn't do too bad. Oh, pan's coming uncracked. Usually they take a little more force than that. Put this back in, this drain plug. We got the bulk of it out of the pan. What to make of it because I don't see anything in the pan. Huh. Pan doesn't look bad at all. Everything up in here, the valve body, the filter, all that looks pretty good. It doesn't look cruddy or crappy or a bunch of metal, I don't know. Huh. So this has probably never been changed. Look at that. AC, GM part number 861, whatever. This is like an original filter right here, so this is kind of neat actually. But so if you do this, and if you can like blow through it and everything, like if you can't, then if it's plugged up, you couldn't get any fluid pressure through to get to your gears. But yeah, I mean, so I don't think the filter is our problem. Right here, it's your band, drum, servo, valve body, and then if you look right here, let me try and get you in here. So that rod sticking out is your TV cable, where it goes to. Like when we're adjusting it on the transmission right here, this goes up to the carburetor. So if you adjust it in, you know, it'll take a higher fluid pressure to get into your next gear, meaning you got to be hammering it harder to get into your next gear. It's going to be higher up. But if you change it to where it's lower, then it takes less fluid pressure and it goes into your gears lower and lower speed, lower RPM. And then this right here, this is where your shifter is connected. So that was the TV cable, this is your shifter. And whenever you shift, it pulls this bar out, like out of the valve body. That's what selects your gear inside the valve body. Right now we're in park, neutral, drive, low, and reverse. Park. Let's see what happens when we crack this leg. Huh. Why aren't you coming loose? Okay. Alright. Something's happening. Let's, okay. Let's be very careful with our next moves. There could be check balls. And then there should be a plate right here. Yeah, it's like a... Yeah, it's coming down. Okay. I thought these screws held two halves of the valve body together, not onto the transmission. Oopsies. Got it. Yeah. So I wanted to take the valve body off because I'm about to do some diagnostics, about to drop some serious knowledge that was hard fought back a couple of years ago when I was doing my 56. So some of these holes are what lead to the clutches, fluid pressure, and they engage to get you your gears. Now I wrote down in my book when we were doing this which ones do what. Where's that book at? So back when we did this, I had to pull the transmission out of that car 4 times to get it right. And when I finally got it right, and I wrote it down, which ones did what. So here's the diagram. So look, it says bottom view. So this is us looking up, like how we just were at those holes. So this says which clutch it goes to. Overrun clutch, coupling feed, coupling signal, reverse, rear clutch, neutral clutch, you know, all that. So I wrote down in here, said that this was back in 2015, so this was 9 years ago I wrote this. If trans is assembled correct, when air pressure is applied to neutral clutch, rear clutch, overrun clutch, and coupling signal, not feed, no air leakage or blow-by should occur. Clutches should engage audibly, and couplers should try to jerk forward when pressure is applied to signal hole. Signal, not feed hole. So let's get an air gun out and test this out.
That's the one we're mainly interested in.
The coupling signal.
I think that's the one we're mainly interested in.
2, 3, 4. This should be our coupling signal.
Oh, I heard it.
See it?
Working.
See it? See that drum moving?
Yeah. Okay, well that's working.
So that's working.
Okay, well then that's not our spaghettis.
Hear it thud? That thud?
Yeah, I hear it. I remember that.
I was accurate then. I can see that drum moving. What's the next hole? So let's try the neutral clutch. The neutral clutch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is the neutral clutch. Hear it flexing?
I hear it. Not that one. All right. Don't bust it.
Yeah. Neutral clutch is working. Next one, rear clutch. Well, that should be this one, which I can't quite get my.
How did we get to that?
I think we did like a vacuum hose or something. Like we put a vacuum hose in there and. I can hear them.
I hear it. I hear it.
I remember the problem would be we would just hear rushing
You
air.
just hear air.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't hear that so far.
So far.
Overrun clutch, which is the second hole over from the big one. So we got the big one, and that would be this one, I think.
I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah. It's working. Okay.
So
Could be a stuck governor, I don't know. Clutches are working. I still haven't found my smoking gun. I'm not satisfied. So just to make sure, I got these out and I moved the valve bodies. See that? So these aren't stuck. There's a few of them. See that? You want to make sure those move freely. I think there's one in here. Yeah. So it seems to be in working order. I'll put this back together and then put it back inside. Well, it's the next day now, and I've had some time to sort of think about what I found yesterday, which was nothing. I didn't find any evidence that this transmission is grenaded, abused, from the inside anyway, Thing about it is, we tested the clutch packs, and they're all holding. So in theory, if they get fluid pressure, they should hold. And you might say, well, even if they're getting fluid pressure, what if the clutches are burnt up, you know, and it still can't grab? Well, then all the friction material in the clutch, there's Dad. All the clutch friction material should be down in the pan. You know, it'll be like, it looks like black sand or black soot, or it's like a black film, and I didn't see anything down in there, so it'll end up in the pan. So what I'm doing now is taking the drive shaft out, because what I want to do is check the governor. So some people, some of these transmissions back in the day had vacuum operated, like they had a vacuum operated bulb on the back and it would control shift points, but these transmissions, these Jetaways, they don't have any vacuum operated anything. It's all hydraulically controlled. And on the passenger side, there's a hydraulic governor that shoves in the back that controls stuff too. You can do that without taking the transmission out. You can take the tail shaft housing off and it exposes the governor, and you can literally just pull it right out. I'm not happy with this car. This was supposed to be a cinch.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted it. I was like, wow, that's a clean, straight car. This is gonna be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And
you just thought it was gonna be a blow and go.
yeah, I thought it was gonna be easy.
Sorry, bud.
No, you can never get away.
Never get away clean.
No.
Never happens.
We gotta unhook the e-brake cable. There's a pin here. Knock that out. Gotta remember it's on the third hole. There's a 3-hole adjustment. Get that out and should be able to get it unhooked from here. This spring. They really must have hit something. I mean, hard. Because remember, the front is mangled. Tranny pan's dented all to heck. And then look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Folded it like frickin' a piece of paper. That's crazy. I would really like to know what was going on at the time of impact. I mean, seriously, that is no joke right there. Should come out, shouldn't it?
I don't know how to do it.
There it is.
You could probably let that down maybe a little bit. I mean, it might make it easier to access that tail shaft. Have you ever had the tail shaft off one of these?
Oh, once or twice.
Just a little bit. Just to see, it might make it easier to access.
No?
Sure that socket's a 9. There was a guy had a video on this morning. It's pretty interesting. He was showing us spot from an old Twilight Zone movie. The old Twilight, the old Zoner.
Yeah.
In 1960, and he actually showed it on Google Maps. And I seen it a long time ago, and it was about the guy that was in the desert from the 1850 and his family needed some medicine, but he stumbled over a hill and he stumbled into what was current, which was 1961 or 60. And he actually went into the restaurant and got medication and went back to his time in the 1850s. It was a good one. They actually shot the video out in the desert in California, and the restaurant was still there.
Oh wow!
It was closed down, obviously, but they showed the restaurant in 1950 or 60, but then they showed it now, and you could tell it was recognizable. You could still tell it was the one.
Oh man, that's cool.
Birdie, there's a little bird over here just bebop. What are you doing?
What in the living?
You poor little guy.
It's in there. I don't see anything wrong with this thing. There's nothing wrong with this thing.
It is actually.
I still don't see absolutely anything wrong with this transmission. So we'll put the tail shaft housing back on and look elsewhere. I didn't do a bad job cleaning it though, huh? Doesn't even look like it goes to this car. I would say half of your work is literally just cleaning stuff. Like if you redo an engine or a transmission or something of the body of a car, I mean, half of your labor is just cleaning. You would be amazed at the amount of time that gets burglarized by just pressure washing and oven cleaning it and spraying it and washing it. It's just crazy. These are pretty tight, so I'm going to tighten them. Kind of overkill. Ooh. While we have the drive shaft out, I guess I'll go ahead and lubricate it because I actually didn't do that the first time.
Well, there just ain't no good way to.
We've been doing a little bit of research on this U-joint, and a couple of watchful eyes actually caught it in the last video on this car, is that there's no clips on these. It's like there should be a tab or a clip that can't let the cap fly off. This one didn't have any. And the yoke, it doesn't have any tabs, and the U-joint doesn't have any tabs, and the strap doesn't have any tabs, but there is a special U-joint for 62s. The cap has like a ridge on it on the inside, like a shoulder, and I'm gonna have to get that. So this thing needs a new tranny mount, but I just don't have one. We'll have to get one when we do the U-joint, but for now we'll just stab it back in there. So I just got done pressure washing the pan. Looks good other than the 100 dents that are in it. Can you see all that? Looks like somebody took it off and used it as like target practice or something with all the dents in it. I'm gonna clean up the gasket mating surface just to make sure there's no debris and that everything seals. Oh wait, hold up. There, spot on, yes. All right, O'Reilly, coming in handy today. Thank you. So as far as we can tell, there's nothing wrong with this transmission. Another idea that Dad said to check, which is what we're on right now. Yeah. So hold on here. So Dad had a 62, so that 62 wagon Dad had not too long ago that we did a video on, it had a 2-speed power glide in it. And you were saying it wouldn't shift?
Wouldn't shift. No
So it wouldn't shift. So Dad ended up checking the TV cable, right? And somebody put another carburetor on it, and the TV cable was being...
It was hooked up beautifully.
Right, the TV cable was hooked up.
It was just hooked up beautifully.
Right, but it was hooked up wrong.
It was hooked up backwards.
So backwards meaning on his car, he remembers the TV cable was hooked up backwards, and so that's why it wouldn't shift. Now, let me show you something here. So here is your accelerator rod, here's the TV rod. Now, when you hit the accelerator, it pulls that TV rod forward, see it? Now, we replaced the carburetor on this car, and I had the TV rod hooked up to this hole. Now, when you hit the accelerator, what's it doing? It's pushing it backwards. The car is saying to shift because the RPMs are going up, but the rod is going the wrong direction, telling it not to shift. Pretty sure that's our problem. Well, I'd say there's a good chance. Real good chance.
Really not much doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So since this carburetor is not like the one we took off where it had a spot down here, we're going to have to make a spot down here to hook it to.
What I think I should do, just go ahead and weld, just go ahead and maybe make a little slit in this and just weld the washer to it. You can cut it off any length you want and then just mount it on there and just see where you want it and then just tack it on there.
So we preliminarily got it on there, got the all thread tacked on, got the TV cable on. So as you accelerate it, go ahead. There we go, it should be pulling it forward. Let's look under here. Yeah, that's what we're after. Man, I just went in to eat lunch and I come back outside, it's raining like cats and dogs, man. I was about to put tranny fluid in it. Try and take it for a test drive, man. Look at that, man. It's coming down. That's one thing that was really weird and different about going back to New York to hang out with Emily's family. When it rains there, it's a rainy day all day. But when it rains here, it's 10 minutes. You know, you got 10, 20 minutes and it stops. It doesn't ruin your whole day. This is why I need an enclosed shop. When it rains real hard, it keeps me out of the sun, but not out of the weather entirely. I gotta clean up my tools like right now. You know, I mean, look at that. It would be nice to have a fully enclosed garage, you know. Gotta do what I can right now, you know what I mean? Raining right in my boots. Not even an hour later. Sunny skies. That's how it is around here. So, anyway, now we can put tranny fluid in this thing. I filtered out about a gallon of it. I still got some more in this drain pan. It's over here. Yeah. So we'll put the gallon in it that we got, and then we'll filter out the rest and put it in. So I got a paint filter right here for filtering this out, and it's a paint filter for like car paint when you're painting a car. So it filters in microns. Must be catching something because it's going slower.
Is that spring hooked up?
No. Okay. Yeah. Is it neutral? Still got water. Yeah, it's a little bit low. I mean, it's reading on the stick, but it's a hair bit low. I'm gonna pour some of this power steering stock leak in there. Maybe that'll help that mox. And to top it off, we'll put some Trans X in it. Give this yet another whirl. So we're in first. I felt second.
Shifted.
Yeah, it went in gear.
Yeah.
This thing's got the shakes.
Yeah, you need to check that front end, see if you got a drag link bad.
One, there's two. There's three. I've got to feel it. That's three. That's four.
You felt it?
Yeah.
Can you manually do it?
Actually, yeah, I didn't even think of that. This is second. We're in low right now. That's third. So like I shifted it up into third. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Feel it?
Yeah. Kind of slow, but it does it.
Yeah, it goes. All the gears are working.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working. It goes. See, oh, see that? I shifted down into third.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Runs good.
Yeah, it runs like a friggin' Swiss watch. Well, there was nothing wrong with the transmission, only other than what I did, hooking that thing up backwards. Bad news is, had to go through all that rigmarole just to figure out one little mistake. But I guess we should thank God that I did not have to take that transmission out, because I was really not looking forward to that. And I remember after redoing that Jetaway and that 56, swearing off those transmissions. I said, once I put it in and it finally worked, I said, I will never rebuild another one of these. It was the first automatic transmission I'd ever rebuilt, and I picked just about the hardest one in human history to try and tackle for a first time, go at it. But that's also why it pays to try and really diagnose problems instead of just saying, well, it doesn't work, something's wrong with it, it's full of fluid, can't tell why, rip it out and rebuild it or put another one in it. Imagine this video if I would have took that transmission out. It would have probably took 2 months to rebuild it, probably $500 to $700 later, put it back up in there just to figure out it still doesn't shift, and then sometime later coming to the conclusion that it was just the TV rod. So I'm really relieved. This car is really getting close to being where I would consider it done, like roadworthy, running, driving, stopping, lights. You could take it and drive it. One of those things holding me up right now is there's like a death wobble going on. When I would hit like a pothole or an uneven part of the road, it would start wobbling, and it would just get worse. And then if I slowed down, it would quit. So we got to look at the front suspension and see what's going on there. All right, let's shed some light on the subject. Watch this one so you can see it. I think this ball joint's toast, and we could have an idler arm drag link bad. If you look, see how much it's shifting? Let's go to the passenger side. This one's even worse. Look at that. Loosey-goosey. Look at this. This cover's not even on it. It's totally shot. While you're doing it, probably gonna need to do the upper ball joint, lower ball joint on both. Does all this need to be redone? I would say probably so. Upper and lower ball joints, control arm bushings, sway bar link bushings, idler arm, tie rods. All the rubber stuff is toast. You know what I mean? After that many years. But right now we're just trying to find why it's wobbling and stop the wobble. One thing Dad said to check was the drag link. Because he said he had a car once. Drag link was bad. It would get the shakes like that. So how he said to check the drag link is to let the car down and jack one side of it up, and then like try and turn the wheel and see if the drag link is like loose, if things are moving around and shaking in there. The only thing I think I see or feel moving is that ball joint down here. Let's do it to the other side. See that pitman arm? Why is it like loose on there? See that? I don't think that's right. Friggin' thing's loose. Gotta crack out the 3/4 inch drive stuff. This is it. See, look at that. Loose. It's like a 1.5 inch nut. Alright, let's shake the tire now. Yeah. Alright, I don't get any vibration from pitman arm no more. Alright, so right now where we're at with this 62 Cadillac is ball joints. I ordered some ball joints online. They are expensive for this car. Oh my gosh. Local parts houses was like $120 a ball joint, and Rock Auto was still 60 some and 70 some. I think the bottoms were 60 a piece and the uppers were like 70 a piece. Freaking expensive for these things. $200 and some for ball joints. Well, we're not going to take it apart yet because it's coming in the mail and it'll be days before it gets here, and I don't want this car just all apart, blown apart for the next 2 weeks in here. So I'm going to back the car out, and I actually want to check some things on my Model A, which you guys have not seen since the only video I put out on this thing. So this Model A actually did not get the views I thought it was going to get. I thought it was going to do really, really well, but it didn't. But I really don't care either way because I wanted the car to keep. And it is in extremely good original condition. I was able to buy this from a gentleman at church's grandfather died, and he had a few cars, and everybody at church knows I'm into cars, and so they called me and I was able to make a deal. So we're gonna back this bad boy out, put it under the carport, because there's something on the engine that I want to check. Look at that. Starts every time. I am just more and more impressed with this car. So I go to a weekly car show every Thursday, and sometimes I crack out the Model A. And last time I took it, a guy said, "Hey, you got some seepage from your head there. Sometimes those head bolts need to be retorqued every once in a while." And I thought, well, you know what, I didn't think of that. So I want to check these head bolts and torque them down and see if they're loose. You know, I don't know. I don't want my head gasket to blow up. So it says that these heads should be torqued down to 55 foot-pounds. I got the wrench set to 55 foot-pounds. Alright, that's 55. This is supposed to be 3. Oh yeah. $55. There it is. They are a little loose. I'll be danged. There's 55. Oh no. Oh no. God. Oh brother, dude. Well, I am not happy about having to do this. You know, I mean, should have just left well enough alone. 55 foot-pounds, I mean, that's nothing, you know? I mean, 55 foot-pounds. Bust the stud in half? Come on, man. I mean, that's a piss-off, you know? I mean... sound right neither. There we go.
Pushing that.
Probably need to put more rope in it. Get your fingers underneath of it.
It's up.
Somebody put copper coat on the head gasket. Old Henry. Henry. That was a Henry. Somebody's had that thing apart.
And we are still waiting on parts for the 62 Cadillac, and we are now waiting on parts for the Model A. Ordered head studs and a new head gasket. So in the meantime, we will rebuild this water pump, because actually when I bought this car, I bought some parts that I thought I might need, even though I haven't used any of them yet. They've just been sitting in the shed since I bought them. So I bought a new belt, I bought a new air filter, and I bought a carb kit, and I bought a water pump rebuild kit. So we got our new shaft. We got, this is like Mike's affordable leakless kit, I think it is. And I'm not just rebuilding it for no reason, just for something to do. It has been dripping ever since I bought it. You know, it drips a little bit. So while everything's apart, might as well do it. And then this is like a pack nut. These came with like packing material, and you would sometimes have to tighten these to get them to stop leaking if they start dripping. There we go. I had to put that original nut back on and slap it with a hammer. First try, can you believe that? Yeah, there's a little collar on here that goes on the shaft that's supposed to stop it from doing this. Shaft should come out. So this presses in from this way. I called the people to make sure I was doing this right, because you all know how water pump rebuildings go around here, per my last video. Cleaned out this bore with some emery cloth. I'll just put like a little bit of Vaseline on here just to sort of help out there's a rubber O-ring around this. And, you know, I just want it to go in easy. I don't want it to tear and scar stuff up. So it doesn't seem like it's binding. Out. All right, not too bad. So far I like the kit. I like that this is all made out of brass, and what it does, why they call this the leakless kit, is because the original one had like packing in it or whatever, and you would have to tighten this nut, so there was an adjustment on it. But these come now with modern lip seals. Like you can see, there's a lip seal in this one, and there's a lip seal right here. There's an O-ring on this that stops it from getting out on the outside of it. And this is kind of like a faux nut now, like a fake nut, where you can screw it in until it bottoms out, but there's no adjusting on this anymore. So once you get it, hold on, here we go, there we go. Once you tighten it up, that's it. You don't have to adjust it. There's no packing. It's just modern lip seals, and you're done. I like that it still has the factory look. I like that. So then for this bore up here, right, there's a shoulder on the very bottom, so it stops everything from falling through it. Cleaned it up with some emery cloth, and this is what you have up top. So you have a cup washer, felt, washer, bearing, washer, felt, cup. So this grease hole goes right in here. It's supposed to go through that hole and grease everything, so I've aligned them up as best I can. But just in case, I've packed that thing full of grease, so it should be good either way. I'm going to grind some of this off. I don't get it. This is one of the old washers that came off of it. See how easy that, wow. See how it's supposed to be? Okay, rebuilt water pump. See it? Yeah. Some old grease. Have to get that out. Yeah, some little bit of old grease got through there in that hole. Yeah. There's a plastic. Then there's this. Then you tighten it. Look at all the old grease that was in the housing of this fan. That's crazy. So put this in here, just mock up. All right. Doesn't hit anything. All right, and there you have it. One rebuilt 1931 Ford Model A water pump with the leakless kit. So I got the water pump bolted back on, cleaned out all the carbon from all the cylinders, and I was taking all the gasket material off. of the head, and I found this crack from water jacket to water jacket, and then from water jacket to head stud hole. Now, I talked to my dad about it, and I also called another Model A guy in town who really is into Model A's and who's been working on them for a long time. I said, do I really need to get another head? It goes against my grain to put on a head that's cracked, but I didn't take the head off because it was having problems burning water or anything like that, you know, so I don't know. And the thing about it is these engines are low compression, I think 5-to-1, and there's no pressure in the cooling system. We don't have high pressure or high heat cooling systems. So because of the low stress on the engine itself, the guy John, he said that a lot of guys put the heads back on and ran them and didn't have problems. So I think I'm gonna take the risk this time and just put the head back on, because it wasn't giving me problems like that before. It was not burning water. It was dripping a little bit out of the water pump, but it wasn't consuming any water, burning it. So the valves all are burning good, you can tell. So I think I'm just gonna run this head, and if I have problems out of it, I'll fix it. I'll put another head on. You know, I'm willing to do that, but for now, we'll just use it. So I'm not just gonna do the one head stud. I'm just gonna do them all. I ordered studs for this thing. I sprayed all these down. Well, everything might have looked clean and tidy in the time lapse. I got all of them out except for 4. They broke off straight in the block. Not a whole lot you could do to prevent that. I've been soaking these down with PB over the last few days, and there's a couple of different ways you can try and get these out. And you can drill them out, or you can weld a nut onto them and try and turn them out. If that's unsuccessful, we'll have to try something else or get a new motor, which I really don't want to do. I think it's breaking. Yeah. Try this again. So the nut welding trick wasn't quite working, so I resorted to the drill out method, which is kind of tricky because it's really hard to center a drill bit in that hole. Because if you don't center it right, you'll be drilling into the block and drilling the threads out. So it's real tedious. Alright guys, well here's where we were at with the Model A. I've been at this for probably 2.5 days straight now with this thing. And I didn't film the entire process because it's just tedious and boring. So the 4 studs that broke off in the block, I believe I have successfully restored. Okay, had to drill them out and tap them. You can see new threads there. We were able to get these 3. This one, I had to helicoil, which had me sweating bullets, having to drill that hole out bigger and tap it and all that. That was a real scary one, but I think it's fixed. Okay. Welding the nut trick onto it typically works, but it did not work on this one. Tried it 5 or 6 times, and before I drilled them all the way out, I tried to drill them to like 3/8 and then put a pretty large extractor in there, and they were just locked in there solid. I was scared I was going to break the extractor, so I ended up having to, drill them out in stages, and then end up helicoiling that one like I just told you guys. And I had to buy, countless drill bits, hours and hours and hours of just tediously trying to center the bit, get it in there, because you can't just scare it with this one. You got to go this 1/8, 5/16, up and up and up, and then get to the big one, then you can tap it. So that's what I had to do to all 4. So now that the hard part of this is over, I can take the tape off the block and just tap. Ooh, boy, a train. I can take the tape off and just tap the rest of the holes and clear them up, and then wait for our studs to come in. It honestly feels really relieving to have got the hard part done and to stop sweating bullets and to just be able to run a tap in and out of these holes, no questions asked, just to get it done. And after this, we can move back to the Cadillac. We'll get it under here and crack that out. So we'll back this truck out, get the Caddy under here. There we go. We probably got this motor done at least, 13, 14 years ago, and it still sounds like the day me and my dad started it up for the first time. Sounds the exact same. We did a good job. What?
That comes off of there. When that comes off of
What?
there,
It's already off the top.
yeah, the only thing gonna be holding it up is that brake line. When it flies off of there,
It'll stay on the knob.
might want to hook a wire on it or something.
Look at that. That wasn't as bad as I thought. I was getting ready for a fight. On these top ones, when they put them in, they put a spot weld here, and I can feel one on the other side. I got to grind it off, and then we can hit it up. Got it.
Grab it. Where's your claw?
All right, well, that's out, so.
Grab it with your claw.
I can pull it down. Yeah. Didn't mess it up, did it?
It's got this, I've never seen this before, where it's got this like twist on dust boot. It's kind of interesting design. Never have seen that before. And it's got these notches on it where you, I guess, tap it into place like, let's see, where's that pickle fork? Just like that.
There. There you go. Now you can pull it in.
Okay, it's in. So all of our parts finally came in. We got the head stud and nut kit for the Model A. We got a brand new, high quality copper gasket. I spared no expense. It was like a $45, $50 gasket. This is as close to factory as you can get. I think from the factory they used copper or brass, and in the middle they had some asbestos lining, like right here where it's sandwiched. You know, if I could have got asbestos, I would, but people, you know, they don't like that no more. And then this is the U-joint for the Cadillac. I like this old box. This is really neat. Master universal joint part number or whatever, D&D Machine Works, Chicago. Look at the quality of the box, the fact that it's lasted this long, and look at the metal tabs that hold it together. I mean, that is some seriously structural stuff for a cardboard box, but it just goes to show you the quality of stuff back in those days. It's just cool. It's a special U-joint. Look at that. So here we go. The clips, some of them have clips that go right here. It's too high up. It hits the yoke and the strap. And there's no clip on the outside. There's no notch on the outside of the yoke to stop it from coming out. So it needs a special shoulder on the inside. Okay, let's take this off. Yeah. Fits. Bingo. Alright, so let's start it up, check the training fluid, fill it up, go for a test drive for the 73rd time. It needs a little bit. We're good. Doing pretty good. So far, no wobble. About to hit a few bumps up here at this part of the road. Trying to be light on it. See if it'll do it. Perfect. Perfect. Absolutely no wobble. Don't you love it when you get to the bottom of something, man? Feels good. So see all this right here? This is all bumps, all these potholes, bumps, bumps, bumps. Hard to tell in the video, but you know, you're just hitting stuff, bam, bam. Steering wheel ain't shaking a lick. Look at that. Absolutely nothing. I love it. Yes, very happy with that. It's a good running car, man. Alright, let's take her back home. I think we have fixed this. Now that the Cadillac is pretty well fixed and out of the way, we can move back to the Model A, finish up what we were doing here. I'm going to clean the top of the block with this pad that's like a 3M scouring pad for gaskets. And then we'll put the gasket on and the studs and then set the head on. While I'm cleaning this block off, I'm trying to think about what the best way to go about putting the head on is. Should I put the gasket on the block, then the head studs, then the head, or the studs, and then see if the gasket goes over the studs? Because that's going to tell you if your head's going to go on, because it's the same bolt pattern, so not quite sure yet. And if you put all the studs on and the gasket won't go over, then that means your tap job or your drill job cocked the studs a little bit. So there's a lot of irregularities in the block and the head. So I'm going to put some copper spray gasket on here on both sides of this gasket. I know these are supposed to soak up some impurities, but I'm just going to do this for some added insurance. It didn't want to go on like real smooth, just drop down over the studs. And I honestly just think it's because, you know, drilling these and tapping these, I think they're just off a hair. When the studs go in, I think they're just slightly off from their original positions. And that's why it's not going on 100%. If I take these studs out, the head gasket drops down decent. So what I might do is put the gasket on, drop the head on, and then try and thread the head studs on after, or maybe put the head studs in and leave them loose so they'll rock a little bit, put the head on and then tighten the studs down. I don't know. I don't know. So, okay, so it goes over those. Oh, you know what? I need to time it. Model A's come with like a timing pin, which is kind of interesting. And you can put this pin in the opposite direction. Well, it's a stud and you can turn it around. We were almost on top dead center. Okay, that's top dead center number 1, compression stroke. Well, okay, one of the reasons why, see all that crap coming out? There's all kinds of stuff coming out of these holes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
just use a couple of opposing nuts. You can tighten them down.
I cut one of the old head stud nuts in half so I can use it as a lock nut. I want it to be as skinny as possible so I can screw the head stud down as far as possible without running out of thread because the nut is really thick. You know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going across all of them and locking them and screwing the studs down. Also because I can't screw them by hand because, you know, they're hair bit off kilter. It doesn't fit perfect on there. And also because you don't want to grab the threads with a friggin' channel locks, you know, tear them up. So and after I got all the nuts on it, I went through and torqued them 3 different times. You can see me doing it here. I did it in increments. So I did 35, 45, then 55 pounds. And then I just started putting the rest of it together. Clean the spark plug holes with a wire wheel, make it nice and flat. Clean the spark plugs, clean the wire straps, put the distributor on, put the cap on, put the water hose, neck hose on.
I don't like the way this new antifreeze looks.
It's not green.
No.
It's like see-through, translucent green. It's not
Yeah.
like that old bright green.
I like the old bright green.
Now what? Why? Oh, I see.
Grease your bearing yet in your fan?
Yeah, I did it before I put it on.
Well, that's all there was green antifreeze years ago. That's it. Green antifreeze. Every car took the same antifreeze. They've got, every car has a different antifreeze in it now. And then GM come out with that red antifreeze, and that is dangerous. We had a guy down in Nogales mix green antifreeze into them, into the red antifreeze forklift, and it solidified and burnt the motor up. Overheated it and burnt the motor up.
That's dangerous.
Huh?
That's dangerous.
Well, that was back when, there was no warnings. Nobody knew it. And they was putting it in the cat fork. I think it was cats. It was the red antifreeze. Is that all right?
I don't 100% know yet. Can't tell if there's a drip here, but I don't know if it's coming out of the hose or the...
Top over here is dripping a little bit. It might, I don't know if it'll stop or not. That
one runs like a sewing machine for now. Got our new copper head gasket, head studs, head stud nuts. Cleaned off all the band, strap, wires, whatever you call them, on the end so they make contact good. Timed it apparently right because it's running. New belt, new water pump, new antifreeze. It was dripping right here. I had to put another hose clamp on it because this neck is real rotted. I mean, it's not rotted out, but it's pitted, so the hose clamp can't seal it, so I had to put another one on it, and that seemed to stop it. I'll be...
Buy another.
What?
Buy another water neck.
Yeah, I don't want to buy another water neck. I wasn't even supposed to do this. So I'll be continually watching that water pump for drips. That drip right there was from the hose, so you know, I'll be looking at the water pump. I'm not expecting many problems out of it, but you never expect problems, I guess, do you? Good running motor, man. Well, I gotta say, I am pretty happy now, finally, with a bunch of fight in between with where we're at. Cadillac is shifting, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's not shaking when you go over bumps, no more death wobble, none of that. The Cadillac is pretty well squared away. Let me know in the comments, is there anything else you guys want to see me do to this thing? And the Model A, what was supposed to be just routine maintenance turned into that whole mess, which had me sweating bullets, man. I've never had to drill studs out of a block, so that was pretty intense. But got 4 of them drilled out, studs, nuts, water pump, belt, all that good business. So the Model A is now up and going again. I think we're on an even keel right now. I'm pretty happy. And another thing, guys, make sure if you're thinking about going to the duct tape drags, Dad and I are going to be there on Saturday. We're not going to be there both days. We're going to be there one day. We're going to be there Saturday hanging out. Hopefully we see a bunch of you. We went last year. It was a great experience. So mark your calendars. We will be there. It's one of the only things we get to go to throughout the year because so many of the events are just too far away from us. 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles. It's just unfeasible. And if you've made it this far into the video, your treat is getting to see what next week's video is going to be on. I picked this up, I don't know, some days ago, and it's an 86 Ford, but it's not necessarily my forte, but it is. And I also bought that parts truck. That's for an even future build. I wanted to do something for the duct tape drags with that mess, but I don't have enough time. So we'll talk about that later. This is an 86 Ford dually, quad cab, 4 doors, front and back seat. This thing is so big it wouldn't even fit on the trailer. It's so wide. It's ginormous. And you're saying, man, Travis, you don't work on too many Fords. You got that one recently and now you got this one. You're a Ford man now. All right. This came with the 6.9 IDI, I believe. Would you look at that? Yeah, this is a Cummins swapped Ford. This is an 89 Cummins 12 valve with the Get Rag 5-speed in it. This guy swapped it all over. Look at that big old manual pig toe hauling truck. He even put the Dana Dodge rear end in the back. So we're gonna do sort of like a will it run, fix up, what's wrong with this thing, can we get it ready for someone to buy? Because this truck's gonna be for sale. I'm not keeping this one. I wanna get it straightened out mechanically and then kick it on down the road. This is a really cool truck for somebody, but it's just not necessarily what I'm looking for, I guess, personally. But yeah, there's a lot of work here. Come and swap Ford, pretty cool stuff.